Well, hello, this is your man JC from Real and Simulated Wars. Today, I would like to talk about this new game that appeared a couple of weeks ago, Decisive Campaigns Ardennes Offensive. So, if you want to drop out of this video in the next minute or so, the take-home lesson it is that this is a piece of art. This is something that, you know, you're playing it and you're thinking, oh my god, when these guys are going to release or expand to new different fronts or different battles. Absolutely great. So let's take a look at that. So full disclosure before we start this overview of Ardennes, it is that I am partial to Command Ops 2 by Panther Games, now published by Lock and Load, I believe. I consider this to be the granddaddy of all Bulge games, and I just love it. So when I say that the game is good, it needs to be at par with this, and that's, you know, a heavy ask. Well, that being said, let's move into the main screen. The first thing I want to note to you, because this is highly unusual for a war game, it is the soundtrack. I don't know, this music was composed by somebody called Marco Finestra, and to be honest, this very thing that is playing right now reminds me a lot of Arbo Parts, the Pacem Dominem. It's absolutely superb. It's like the heavens are gonna open and God himself is gonna come down and forgive us for these sins that we are going to commit. It is something out of the ordinary, and I say this, you know, really honestly, at certain points, because, you know, the range of, not the emotions, but the feelings that you get, it is something out of a mix of the soundtrack by Stephen Price for Fury, the Hollywood score, and also for Johan Johansson for Sicario. In particular, that very moving theme, The Beast. I mean, whoever you are, Marco Finestra, this is really amazing, and just took me a bit derailed or out of the conversation. This is a list of scenarios. This is what I wanted to show you guys. You have two very big ones over there covering the entire offensive, and you have medium scenarios. Today, I'm going to choose the Elsenborn Ridge scenario. I truly believe that, you know, as many historians have pointed out, this is just the main dish. This can explain a lot why the Germans got derailed in their offensive. So this is a game loaded, the Elsenborn Ridge scenario. And well, let's share a little bit the technical specs of the game first. This is a turn-based game. Each turn, I don't know how much it lasts, but, you know, every day is separated in pulses of 4. So I could suppose that it is like 6 hours per turn, but don't quote me on that. It's I go, you go. You can play against a computer, against yourself, or against a friend. Didn't get a chance to try this against a friend because, well, I'm not too much of a multiplayer type of guy, but I am digressing. The main unit size is a battalion size, so this is kind of a grand tactical war game, and each X is 1 kilometer wide, and you can see that the art is great. I was not too much sold on the color palette at the beginning, but it's just me being picky. You will see that different types of terrain, they affect sighting, view, and also combat modifiers. There is a lot of, you know, forest type of terrain along the map, so just keep into consideration when you attack, because that gives the defenders a lot of bonuses. And with the X being at 1 kilometer and the unit being as the battalion level, you can can't avoid literally a comparison with John Tiller's Panzer Campaign war games, and well, it is kind of, it plays very, very differently. I was kind of surprised at how fluid this game is, and I am really enjoying it. So right now I zoom it in, and you will see that the counters for the units are very detailed. You get all types of information down there. Each unit has different attributes like action points, you know, how much in control are they, the supply situation, and very, very important, you know, cohesion or integrity, and you know, the readiness for combat, which is something that you need to be very careful and have them, you know, on a tight leash, because things can go bad very, very, very quickly. So each unit can be in combat mode or into a transport mode, to march mode actually, where, you know, you spend some action points while switching, but that leaves the units very, very exposed, because, you know, they are doing like a tactical march, and readiness for combat is not optimal, and they can literally succumb to enemy attack. So you can give the units different postures, or, you know, when they're going to retreat or not. So it is very, very detailed. If you want, you can click on the different components, and you will get a detailed view of them with all the stats and everything you may need. It is a war game that the interface is very, very friendly, and there are many different ways to do exactly the same thing. That type of redundancy is pretty much very welcome, because literally you can go anywhere to find your information, and you develop certain routines, if you will, and that will help you to kind of, you know, face your actions, or on how to organize them. So as you know, in the case of the Elsenborn Ridge, which is right here, you see it's a kind of it's a ridge, and there was significant resistance over there from the Americans. And you also have the so-called twin villages, Rocherat and Krinkelt. They gave so many headaches to the German advance. So one thing that I wanted to show you, because I am just so excited about this, it is that, you know, well, you can cycle by just clicking, and of course you have many units in the same counter. One thing that I wanted to show you, it is the following. It is that you have icons for the NATO icons that you can use if you're a bit, you know, prone to do that. I really like them, but the icons, like the graphical representation, is so nice that, you know, even myself, which I am very strict with my war games, I tend to leave them with the regular icons. And also you have this other option that you can click, and you can see the stack completely separated over there. I believe that it's very, very nice to have such an option. As for myself, well, you know, I'm an older person, so I don't I cannot see that at that level of magnification, so I just keep the units stacked there where they're like, you know, grandpa size. And well, you will notice too that the line of sight is very, very detailed. You literally can see what the unit, what the X can, I mean, what X's can be seen from the position that you are clicking on. But you also have these indicators that tell you how much the unit can see based on that. Red being really very bad, green being the best, and blue is a kind of intermediate where you don't have too many hopes of seeing anything. There is also a very specific modifier that I want to show you here. If you go to X information, you will see these recon points, which means how much recon you have on it, or how much you can expect to kind of distinguish if an enemy position or an enemy unit is hiding over there. So in this case, we have very good recon, around 50, and just to give you an idea, the minimum that you need if the enemy unit is not even trying to hide, it is a 20, and we have a 50 value over there. And if the enemy unit is kind of in a restrictive terrain and kind of it is hiding, you will need up to 80. But you will see that it drops to 40, and as you cross the bridge, it goes and wanes down to 30, and when we reach Rocherat, it is around 1, so we don't have too much recon over there. There is some obstruction, and that is very, very, very nice. And that obstruction accounts for, the different types of recon activities that the battalion size unit can do. Lines of sight are not reciprocal, as you may expect in real life too. I am clicking here on a unit that we don't know because we have a very low value of recon, and that is kind of hampering. We know something is there, but we don't know what it is yet. We'll have to move forward and take a look at what it is actually over there. The other thing that I wanted to show you, it is, well, command rules do apply, and if you click into a headquarters unit, in this case the 12 SS, you will see that the headquarters unit, they have a command radius that is pretty nimble. It's not that big. Green being great, and yellow, bluish, and red being, less than optimal. So the same goes for corps headquarters and so on. So there is a huge amount of detail over there, and I wish that we could continue doing videos. I see the guy from the La Abadía del Gamer, unfortunately it's in Spanish, but he's making very nice videos and very nice tutorials, and I literally kind of learned to play this thing because of his videos. Still not a master. It will take some time to get this thing to be played in an optimal way, because it's kind of deep, and I'm not saying deep in the sense that you need a PhD level type of approach to it. You can play it casual as you want, but there is so many things to consider, and actually those decisions are really very enjoyable. Let me show you also this. That's gonna make a lot of our gameplay, and the thing that I want to show you is how to make Kampfgruppen using just the interface. Like for instance, if you go to micro over here and you have this Kampfgruppe already made, you can make a new Kampfgruppe and you can transfer units to them. Like for instance, I don't know, I'm gonna transfer all the Pumas over there, and I'm gonna transfer a couple of Panzer IVs. You have to have a critical mass of 50 points. You see, I needed to pass like 8, and I'm gonna pass some Panzer Grenadiers, and right now I'm passing like around 20, so I'm gonna give them like 3 half tracks, and there you go, Kampfgruppe Thomas, and you will see it right there. You see the top counter, it is Kampfgruppe Thomas, and you can cycle through the units by just doing that. And this Kampfgruppe has 8 Panzer IVs, the Panzer Grenadiers, the half tracks, and the 2 Pumas. Hopefully that's gonna help us to just do some damage into the, or a better recon of the road ahead, because you see that the mobility corridors are really very, very limited, and you better, you know, kind of stick to the roads. And pretty much the offensive, if you compare this to real life, it is guided by those roads that are so scarce and so precious. So you better treat them very well and make sure to grab them and take control of them. Okay, so let's make some moves just to show you how the gameplay is. And I'm gonna start by the northern flank. And right now I'm looking at some units of the 326 Volksgrenadier Division, and they're pretty much in a pickle. They have been assigned the northern flank, and they were actually very important because they were the point where things would pivot north, the general offensive by the 6th Panzer Army. So, but as you can see, they are pretty weak in the north. Thank God the Americans are not that strong either. But anyway, that's more for a historical type of video or gameplay video. So I'm going to just do some moves to show you how movement and combat do happen, and then we're going to wrap it up very, very quickly. So right now I'm going to choose this battalion over there. It has around 290 Volksgrenadiers, and they have look at this differentiation is great. They have K98 based, the rifle based, and they have STGs 44s. That's are great, and they have their organic support right there. But of course they can count on, you know, these indirect fire units, and these are actually assault guns. So very important to consider support units when you play. And well, I'm gonna click here to move, and I'm gonna move my unit right there, and this is intercept fire, which is kind of a opportunity fire from the enemy. You can get a graphic representation with the units involved. You can get detailed, or you can get just a graphic like this where you see how many units you have, how many losses you have suffered. So in this case, well, some units pull it out, and that's okay. There is not too much of a loss over there, but of course there is that loss in action points that they don't stop the unit per se, but makes them suffer a little bit. So I will just move this other battalion right there, and well, now I'm given the option to attack. If I want to attack, I will have to press the right button, and I get this type of view where you can plan your attack. And well, in this case we have 2 units that can participate. We have the one that we just clicked on with this battalion, or you can add a second one, but you see the odds are not really very, very good. So I'm going to cancel this attack and leave it for later. So the other thing that you can do that I can do in this case, it is to move this support unit. Again, there is some opportunity fire from the enemy, but fortunately there is no losses. Just you know, the type of disruption that you could expect from an event like that. This this reminds me a lot of the Operational Art of War, and it's kind of a very nice touch. I don't know if it is in the other Decisive campaign games, but I'm really liking it. You see that the calculations for combat are pretty detailed. I try to play by ear, but I promise someday I'm gonna sit down and read the complete rules. But you know, play by ear means that, you know, if the attack makes sense, you will get your odds right there. And by the way, those options, those are optional items. If you don't like it, you can pretty much remove it. So continuing with the 326, we're going to continue moving. You know, opportunity fire or intercept fire happens all the time. And well, we have a nice attack opportunity here. We can add this other Panzerjäger unit, which is basically some guns into the attack. If you add it, just increase the odds. And we're going to be attacking them. And you receive this detailed report right here with the losses for each side. And basically you receive a general outcome that the attacker won and the enemy has retreated. So that is pretty cool. So we have gained some terrain, and we do have some action points ready, and we can re-attack this. That's kind of nice, but the odds are pretty bad, so we're going to leave it alone. I don't know why this attack is so bad. It is just open terrain, and this unit, oh, I see, there is like a there is a battalion of American GIs. We don't know the unit yet, but that's why we don't have the, you know, the good odds to make an attack. So in this case, it's the same thing. The odds are not really very good, so we're going to leave them alone. We can attack here too. The enemy has retreated, which is something that we always like to happen. And well, in this case, there is not a chance that we're going to win that one. So we'll continue with those units later. I don't want to make this like an after action report, because that could take a very, very long time. So let's continue. Let's see if there is opportunities lingering around. No, the odds are not very good. And well, now we continue with the 277 Volksgrenadier Division. In general, my plan of attack in another games that I'm playing, it is to use these Volksgrenadier divisions as a kind of a flank protection, and by means of just driving through the main roads and trying to protect the short punt, or the main effort, which is gonna be, you know, the 12 SS. So that's why in this case I'm not gonna, you know, be very thorough with what I do here. I'm pretty much carry on. There is a lot of opportunity fire going on, and that's okay. And These rocket units, I'm gonna move them pretty much to the front, because when I assault this main line, I want to use them as a whole and unique unit. So another opportunity fire, and so on and so on. So this one here, their mission is a bit kind of derailed by opportunity fire too. You see the circle, the number with the circle, if you see my cursor right there, means the amount of action points remaining. So pretty much the indirect fire or the opportunity fire from the enemy has literally stopped these guys on their tracks, so they cannot move any further. But here comes the main dish. Let's start moving these guys. And one thing that I already explored with you, and I believe is very, very important, is to know the recon status of the different places, because as I mentioned, as you move, you pretty much get the recon values going down, and the opportunities for an enemy ambush are pretty much increased. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send a Panzer Grenadier unit. This one is in particular supported by 5 Panther tanks and 9 Panzer IVs, which is very, very nice. Also reinforced by some anti-tank units and a Puma unit, which is a recon vehicle. So I'm going to move. And as you can see, these things appear. I'm going to explain to you what are they in just a second. So there is some intercept fire, and they run out of movement points. The thing that I wanted to show you is the following. As you know, you can assault, basically conduct an offensive or an attack by moving the unit, the friendly unit, into the enemy hex. But also you can do indirect fire missions or attack by fire missions, depending if the unit involved it is a fire support unit or if it is a maneuver unit. So in this case, all you have to do is to click on the X, like this one here, that we know it has some troops and some anti-tank guns in the area near Rocherat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and conduct a ranged attack, and this is the units that I have as an option to attack. This is a army asset, so I'm gonna attack them. So there is no enemy losses, but you know, this may help keeping their heads down while we move. And right now I'm moving some anti-tank vehicles, like the Jack Panzer IV, and they're getting into the thick of it. But soon I'm gonna just blast them with 48 Panther tanks that hopefully are going to move over there. They just run out of points, but I do believe that, you know, they're gonna leave us in a very nice type of posture for the next turn. So everybody moving up front. Thomas, the Kampfgruppen that we created just for showing, cannot move, unfortunately, because, you know, basically we just created them. And right now I'm just reinforcing the tip of my spear. And this is gonna be quite an offensive there in the twin villages. So this thing that I am doing is not very advisable. I just have an entire division and I'm trying to move them through a single road, which is not a cool thing to do. You have to have at least, I don't know, maybe 3 roads. But the issue of ownership of roads was a hot topic during the Ardennes offensive for the Germans. They pretty much ran out of roads pretty fast, and you know, sometimes they were like sharing roads without each unit knowing of the other. It was quite a very fine mess. And speaking of that, you see these little shapes of trucks. This is traffic congestion, which is a wonderful topic, and it is something great to have in a war game, because it means that the traffic that goes through them is going to be delayed. And you know, this is a wonderful touch, and which means that, you know, you better be careful while you plan your offensive. As you see, what I'm doing here is pretty debatable from the maneuvering point of view, but I really need to get my troops all the way up. So I'm gonna move my headquarters just 2 kilometers from the front line, and we'll continue pushing forward. These truck units, you see the congestion here is just unbearable. So that's pretty much it. And of course you can continue moving your units. There is a lot of opportunity fire over there. I'm gonna just try to spearhead using the 12 volts Grenadier Division. I'm gonna try to kind of divert resources for the Americans from the south in the area of Krinkelt. So the odds here are just awful. Better don't come near that. Yeah, there is no units that I can use to attack, and well, that's okay. And we have this wonderful naval warfare unit. I'm gonna actually use them with a 12 Hitlerjugend division. And well, just continue moving around. Some units have run out of movement points, and let's give the boys of the 12 as much as we can in terms of indirect fire support. So that being done, we're just going to call it a day, and we're going to wrap it up. And well, a thing that I wanted to show you too, it is this issue of cards. Cards can be spent and used at pleasure. It all depends if you have a target or not, or if you have the PPs, which I don't know what they stand for, political points or something like that. I don't know, but not very fond of of cards per se. But I like the way that they are phrased. They don't make it so gamey, so board gamey. This is something that I always, you know, kind of walked away from when they use this cards approach for a computer game. But right here they're implemented there. Pretty much they make sense how they're generated and how they're used. So I'm not offended at all, and indeed I have used them to not reinforce, but to make a main effort unit perform better and whatnot. So all things done, I'm gonna press the next turn, and it's gonna show you what happens in the American turn. Air attacks, tactical moves from the AI. The AI is pretty nice, very alive. I like it. I have seen it pull it a couple of moves that left me really very impressed. But the thing that made the top of the list, it is, they don't like to be outflanked. So that comes a lot in handy when you're pushing through a single road and the AI decides like, oh, I'm about to get encircled. Let's just get the hell out of here. Very, very useful. And you see that? They're kind of surrounding that small reduct for the Northern Volks Grenadier Division. That's gonna be bad. There's a lot of armor there, even when the majority of them are really just light tanks. But let's take a look what they did. Let's go all the way up to the north. Wow, look at this. What are these? Greyhounds and Stuarts. That's pretty ballsy of you. Anyway, we'll have to conduct an offensive to cut them off or to, take them out. So, and speaking of that, since this is just a very limited thing, I just wanted to show you the tip of the spear and the short punta, which is the 12SS in this case. You see, it has tried to reinforce. What is this? This is Rocherat. And, it brought some troops, and there is a lot of scattered units. I see that, they're trying to build a defense line very, very, valiantly, but they're going to be no match. You see, almost not using anything there. I'm gonna attack them. Oh, what would be great? To conduct an indirect fire mission on them. So I'm gonna go to X, range it, and I'm gonna use these assets from the 6th Panzer Army, and not too much happened there. Yeah, not many losses. They certainly didn't retreat, but the odds have increased to 5, so I'm gonna proceed to attack. And boom! The attacker won. You have the list of KIA units for the attacker, and for the defender, you also have this icon type of visual here. You see that they have retreated, so I'm going to move into Rocherat, and can we press on? Wow. Okay, so I don't like those odds, so I'm going to repeat. I'm just trying to behave. If this if this could be Saturday night and I would have alcohol in my hands, I could just push it with the Panthers all the way to Elsenborn. But not today. I just want to show some sense or whatever you call it. So I'm gonna attack those fire support units. And wow, they held. How nice of you. Increase the odds. They retreated. This is kind of nice. Intercept fire. They just drained us with the intercept fire. We don't have offensive value right now up there. So let's bring the Panthers. Yeah. Oh, look at those odds. Jesus Christ. Okay. You shouldn't be doing this, but yeah. We won that one. Not surprised. How bad was that? It's like, I feel like I'm bullying. Let's move some maneuver units just to bring this. I shouldn't be distracting myself with the flanks. That's another thing. Because as you can see, you suffer losses and you pretty much lose the tempo on it. So, well, no bueno. But that's how you plan and basically try to do your best. This is not an after action report, so no worries there. And that's my excuse for today. I just wanted to show you how this game plays. And as I mentioned before, it gives me anxiety because I just want to play, I don't know, the Eastern Front with this engine. I just want to play, Africa with this engine. It's really that good. I hope that they stick to it and they continue doing these things. And it is great to see people innovating and people creating and people, doing great things for wargaming. This is a great time to be a wargamer, and this is pretty much all I have to say. Thank you very much for this. Bully for you, VR Designs. I'm really rooting that this is a success, and that we have many more to come. So thank you very much for watching. This was a bit longer than I anticipated, and I will see you around. Thank you.